Today on Sinder's Playground, we're going to discuss the books of magic by DC Comics and why I hate Harry Potter so much. You definitely want to stay tuned for this one. For all you who don't know, because Books of Magic, even though it has like kind of a cult following, um, but it's not like well known like other DC properties, as you may know. But just to drop some knowledge on y'all, if I may. So, Books of Magic was released, first issue in 1990. And let's see, the Potter books, the first one was released in 1997. Isn't that right? I believe so. Oh damn, I forgot to do the intros. Yeah, just because I was so passionate about this, so I just want to give it to it. But my name is Sinder. Right here next to me is my co-host
Jose.
And yeah, he's a big Harry Potter fan, so I just wanted to do this episode for him and y'all's benefit. Because I feel like it's a travesty. And,
He wants to take a poop.
Yeah. What you call it? And I think that author J.K. Rowling is a thief and a crook and a swindler and not a good person apparently. So yeah, so just add this to many things that you will label her as a plagiarist. Say that. Now I got that off my chest. We're gonna talk about Books of Magic, which is a comic book miniseries written by Neil Gaiman, who also wrote Sandman and Swamp Thing. He also did runs on Poison Ivy, and then he actually did another miniseries with Green Lantern, Superman, Legends of the Green Flame, and one of his Elseworld stories. And that's you don't know what Elseworld is either, do you?
No.
Those are like those fantasy situations, like Superman Red Sun, like when he lands on like Moscow or whatever.
Okay.
So like those alternate reality stories, where it's not main DC continuity. All right, so he did one of those. It was a Batman one, and he said, "Oh yeah." So that one's called Batman R.I.P. So it's like Batman dies. He's done some work in DC, man. Later, it would be all right. Now going back to Books of Magic. Later, the Books of Magic would be an ongoing series on the subdivision of DC's Comics Vertigo line. It tells a story of a young boy who has the potential to become the world's greatest magician. The series came about when DC Comics wanted to highlight some of their mystical characters in the DC universe. DC approached Neil Gaiman, who was getting popular at the time. He came up with the idea of the everyman character in a 12-year-old boy named Timothy Hunter, who goes on tour of the DC magical universe before deciding he should embrace or reject his destiny of becoming the world's greatest magician. First miniseries called Book One, because the miniseries were titled Book One, Book Two, Book Three, before. Okay, so Book One, titled subtitle called The Invisible Labyrinth, is the first miniseries. Tim is introduced and taught DC history with the Phantom Stranger, who is a DC character. Um, Book two, The Shadow World, Tim is shown how current DC is and is guided by John Constantine. Book three, The Land of Summer's Twilight. This arc, Tim visits Gem World. I don't know, say this wrong. Starkittis, Camelot, and eventually Hell with Doctor Occult, who is another DC old school. Side note, real quick, Doctor Occult, who I never heard before until I read this, but that character was created by Jerry Siegel and Joel Shuster, who made Superman. So like I said, so obviously he's an old character. So the fact that they brought him in, to this series, which is cool, that's a throwback. And finally, the last miniseries, book 4, The Road to Nowhere. Tim goes to a possible future guided by Mr. E. Now, pause here for a second. Mr. E. Which one? You guys should look him up. He's something else. He's something else. But yeah, again, an old throwback character from early DC days. Going through the miniseries, though, Tim's introduction to the world of magic by the people I mentioned earlier, which all are aware of his potential. They show him the birth of the universe all the way till its end, showing him possibilities and the price for wielding magic. And of course, along the way, he meets the cream of the crop of DC's magic wielders like Merlin, Zatanna, Dr. Fate, the Spectre, Madam X, Dr. 13, Dream, Constantine, Destiny, Cain and Abel, and Death itself. All throughout those miniseries and everything like that. Again, wait, I'm gonna pause here for a second and talk about Zatanna, if I may. One day we are gonna do episode of the hottest girls in comics, and yeah, so that's just made me think of that. I don't know when, but we will do issue. Episode like that. Okay, before I go on, what do you think about this guy so far? Well, Tim.
So basically, from what I'm getting, they used him as a way for readers to acknowledge all the magic characters in DC.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then the purpose of the books is so he could realize his potential to be the best magician ever.
Yeah, best
Okay.
magic wielder. What's you call it? Like I said, I never read any of those goddamn books, and I never read any. I never seen any of those movies. I'm talking about Potter now. Even those movies. So I know, obviously, he deals with magic, and he goes to school, to learn magic or whatever with his two friends, But is that something
that's similar?
No, I mean, I'm saying, is his arc kind of like Tim's, where he's destined to be the most powerful of them all?
Not really. Like they paint him to be like, oh, like you're supposed to be. Well, the way the story goes is they give him the title as a baby that he is the most powerful magician because the most powerful magician as a baby he killed Potter's parents, and then when he went to go kill Harry Potter, um, Harry Potter killed Voldemort. And it's basically based off of because his mom cast a spell surrounding him with love, and then Voldemort didn't know, and then he killed Voldemort, or he didn't kill him, but he made him like super weak to the point where he wasn't even like a human body form. Like well, there's plenty of things that explain how he was able to survive it, but basically that's why they paint him as the best magician ever, because the greatest magician ever, or like, and then basically the whole series goes through everyone having this huge thing and then he's like, I didn't even want this. Like, I'm just trying to like go to school, like, learn this,
Mm,
be liked, because like he has also a different path.
mm-hmm,
His past, like he grew up with people, not a non-magic family, and basically they treated him like shit. Like they had him in like a basement room, like
mm,
not even a basement room, like literally a closet, and that was his room for like since he was like 12, before he started high school. And
mm.
then when he started high school, um you know that's when kids are eligible to go into the magic school.
Hogwarts.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I think it sounds like it's different, but I mean, you did show me that the
Cover.
picture of the guy from Books of Magic, and
Mm-hmm,
they look really alike.
mm-hmm.
But I don't know. So far, it sounds like a different story arc.
Okay. All right. Oh, yeah, I'm not finished.
All
But
right, yeah,
also like you know, Tim has he goes through no shit with his parents and stuff, and as he's going through this journey and stuff like that, and then he meets different people you know along the way and everything like that, and yeah, and he's like battling that thing where like, do I even want to embrace my destiny, so to speak?
yeah. I
Or
mean, I think that's like something that's pretty common in most things. Like if you think about it, like Spider-Man, like, do you want to be a hero? Like, you're a kid, you still have to go to high school, you're pretty smart. Like, are you gonna fight crime, or are you gonna try
try to,
and be normal?
yeah,
And so I feel like a lot, especially during that time, like with comic books and stuff, that like that was a arc that they can go into, because that's what people relate to.
yeah,
I
yeah.
feel like maybe.
Well, especially dealing with the younger characters too.
Yeah.
I think that's true.
But his like, if you read the first book, I think that's why people like it, because it's like, he was treated like shit, like
Hmm.
really bad. It's not like, and as the series progresses in Harry Potter, things get darker, and it's not always, even after the first book, it's there's always something that's like fucked up about it. It's not
Hmm.
like everything is perfect.
Hmm.
Like I don't think there's one year of school that passes where like not a traumatic shit has happened.
Oh yeah, well yeah,
Yeah.
Tim goes through some fucked up shit too, man. And I'll be honest, he's not a very good person either. Like some of the shit he does, But yeah, but okay, so now so you get how this started. It started with 4 different miniseries, because DC didn't want to give it a full series yet,
Yeah.
So after book 4, and then Neil Gaiman, he wrote all 4 of these books. Well, not 4 of these miniseries, and then so now, uh, after that 4th book, the fourth miniseries, so through the course of those miniseries, Tim made the ultimate choice to pursue magic by the end of book 4, when he had to, excuse me, he had to defend himself with magic to keep Mr. E, that was the last person he met, from killing him, because Mr. E was trying to test him. So, but he didn't do it alone. He was helped out by Dr. Fate and Zantana, who I mentioned again. I'll mention it again because they want him to go on this path. Now, so so that's happens at the end of book 4. Now, going off of that, uh, there was a crossover event for DC Vertigo. So I mean, what crossover events are in comics, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the Infinity Gauntlet, where like all the major heroes come together. Yeah,
Yeah.
what I'm saying. So all the characters in the DC Vertigo universe, what do you call it? This was like their first like crossover event. It was called the Children's Crusade. All right, now it was a crossover event involving all the DC Vertigo titles, and Tim was reintroduced to the Vertigo readers because after the 4th miniseries, he didn't get his own book yet. So this big crossover event brought him back in to the DC Vertigo books, and after the event was over, Books of Magic would begin its ongoing series after that. Uh, with several different teams working on the title. Neil Gaiman, he didn't write all the stories after the ongoing series. I think he just did like the first three story arcs and ever. Side note though, one of the writers said publicly while he was working on the book that he finds it hard to like Tim because he gets on his nerves a lot. uh,
Yikes.
um, also at this time when Neil wasn't writing the book, um, what do you call it? He was like creative consultant, but he stepped aside. I think after like the fifth arc or something like that. But check this out. Even though he wasn't writing, DC was still paying him um, $200 for every issue for just being the consultant. You know,
Oh wow.
you know. So every issue that came out, he got $200. I was like, which is pretty cool. You know, especially at this time. This is like early '90s.
Yeah, so that's some money.
Yeah. What do you
Could
call
have
it?
paid off rent with that.
Yeah. Okay. So, but now Peter Gross, who was the primary artist for most of the series, was eventually assigned writing duties as well. And believe it or not, besides those two duties, he also taught a class in comic book illustration at Minneapolis College of Art and Design. I'm like, Jesus. But while Gross was doing the book, DC had tentative plans to reset the comic when they hit issue 75, and then go on a break, and then bring Tim back, him being older, like in real time. So, which is, I'll stop there for a second. So that is cool. What do you think about that idea? Like, if you were to read a series, and the character is only started, but then they just stop issues, and then let's say like 2 years later, they bring the series back, but your character's older.
I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because you never really know what happens.
hmm
Kind of like Constantine, right? Where
yeah.
as the issues go,
He
grows
gets older.
older,
Yeah, he gets older.
That's cool.
Yeah, because I mean, I know we all love the idea of Superman, Batman, Spider Man of like being that perfect age like all the time, but I mean, but in the back of your mind, you have to realize, like, damn, he's been fighting crime for like X amount of years. He has to get old, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know. Well, so the fact they put a little realism in that, you know, I like that.
That's pretty cool, yeah.
You know, um, uh, so Gross actually had ideas for this arc when they bring Tim back, and how he's changed and how his relationships change from the people he met through the first series arcs and stuff like that. However, when the 75th issue hit, Gross decided to step away from the book. So DC announced that Dylan Hardrocks, that's his name, would take over the book in a 5-issue miniseries. Um, uh, then after those 5 issues, they did a short break, and then the book would return as Hunter: The Age of Magic. Uh, that was released in 2001, and that ran until 2003. Now, after that run, they stopped, and then in 2018, Books of Magic Volume 3 basically picked up where the last Books of Magic ended, and that ran all the way until 2020. Now, as of now, Tim has been showing up in uh, Justice League Dark issues now and again, but yet he hasn't. They haven't brought back Books of Magic in an ongoing series for DC as the time of me recording this. So, um, yeah. So he went away from 1990 all the way to 2020. Which is pretty long run, even though he had gaps in between certain issues.
Yeah, it's still a long run.
Yeah, it's still long. What do you call it? And I didn't know why you mentioned this. So yeah, so you know now, like in DC, like all these characters from Vertigo are now in the main DC universe.
Oh, okay.
That's why we see John Constantine.
Oh, like at the New 52.
Yeah. No, yeah, this is after the New 52. So yeah, all those characters, like I said, rolled into the main DC line. So like I said, so like Swamp Thing and Swamp Thing, Constantine, Sandman, Tim, all those people, so that's why they pop out here and gun in other people's books, because they are part of the DC like main universe. I mean, but like, ask you a question. So going back before that, so what do you think of DC having that idea of having like your standard superheroes books, the lines, and then having this kind of
Underground type of.
yeah, having this off. I'm not gonna say off the wall, but like not mainstream group handful of books.
I think that's pretty cool because you get to like try out different people's comics, like Adam, and be like, oh, yeah, we don't know how successful it'll be, but we could start you off in Vertigo, and then see if you get popular through there.
That's
It
it.
gives people some shots. I think I don't know how accurate that is, but
I mean, also too, I think I think all of the Vertigo titles were like mature, so shit that you can't get away in like the Justice League and stuff like that.
oh yeah.
So
I get that.
I think that's another reason why they wanted to differentiate themselves from the main DC universe, and because like I said, Tim, like, he's not all goody two shoes. Like I said, he's done some fucked up shit, in his past and everything like that. I mean, it's kind of why I like the character, but because he's flawed, like I said, like all people are. So he needs to make mistakes and he made some bad choices, man. And of course, like we said a couple weeks ago, same thing about John Constantine. That's his kind of whole mission, is to kind of repent for all the shitty things he's done. That's why he tries to help people when he can, even if he has to do it by underhanded means. Um, but I mean, if they do bring it back, I think I would jump back in. You know, and I but yeah, so I will say to you, like I said, when I first started reading books of magic, which I mean, I didn't start when they started. I started later, and yeah, I fell in love with the book. I thought it was cool. It was everything very, like I said, mature and everything like that. Um, and then all of a sudden, Harry Potter comes out and it's like this huge thing, and everything like that. I'm like, oh. And then that's the first thing I connected to, because the two characters look the same. Because Tim has dark hair, dark short hair, glasses, pale skin, and studying magic. I mean, you could say that's about all they have in common, but I would disagree with you. I would say that that the whole, because Tim is kind of getting his schooling, if you will, meeting all these other magicians and stuff like that in the DC universe. So just like Potter, what you call it, he's getting taught these things and everything like that. So, like I said, this is just my personal opinion. I feel she read these books. It's like, oh, no, that's a good idea. I think I tweak little things here and there, and I can make something of it, and become a $1 billion person,
Well, I'll. The only thing I'll say about that is, I mean, from what I know about her, was she wasn't well off in the beginning. Like she literally wrote the book on napkins.
Yeah,
And stuff like that. So like,
I've heard that.
I mean, if you think about that, I don't think, especially someone at that age with not that much money, is gonna go and read like a comic book and be like, oh, I'm gonna steal this and put all my eggs in one basket and put this in there,
I mean, well, I mean, like I said, we don't know how long she was shopping this around. She could have been years she was shopping around until a publisher finally picked it up.
I mean, she was. I think a lot of people said no to her, except Warner Brothers, which owns
Wait,
DC.
What? So Warner Brothers owns the rights to Potter?
Yeah,
I didn't know that. Again, more like I said, I don't follow this shit. So
yeah,
Warner Brothers. Damn. So that's a cash cow for them.
yeah. But don't they own DC too?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like, it wouldn't even make sense. Like, they would have just dismissed it. and then not even had her in there. If you think about it, if they had all the rights and stuff like that. I don't know. I mean, in my opinion, it sounds like he looks similar and stuff, but I just think it's a coincidence. Like, I
That
don't think it's like,
that Harry looks like Tim.
yeah.
Hmm.
Like, if you think about it, like, I don't know. Most magic people have glasses. Like, if you look at Merlin, he has glasses,
uh,
like, I don't know. But, um, but yeah, that's in my opinion. I don't know. I can't. I'm not gonna like defend her. Like, I'm just saying what I know. From what I know, all I know is, you know, it's not like she had a lot of money. It's not like she had like the resources to like just go around shopping for things and being like, oh, like what character am I gonna make a story of, or you know, I don't know. That's me, and I don't know. I think Harry Potter has like a different um
what feel about it?
grow. Yeah,
Well, yeah. Well, books about the girls is definitely for mature audiences. I would say, So I mean, so I think she like what do you call it? Tone down the adult themes, if you will, to make it more kid friendly. Because let's be honest, like who's the majority of people reading these books? It's the kids, So
yeah.
what do you call it? So I figured. So I'm sure she thought that in the back of her head. So like, oh well, I'm gonna cater to like the biggest audience, which is kids, you know. And then so like I said, I mean, this is just my personal opinion. Like I said, I feel like I'm not saying she like read like all the books and was like okay, I'm still a shot for shot. Obviously, she didn't because they are different, but I feel like they're similar too in the same way, you know. Besides from the look, they're both practicing magic, and everything like that. I mean, I know there's more than one magic person, obviously, but I don't know. It
I
just
mean, you could also say that with like most superheroes, though. Like if you think about it,
what? Like what? Mm.
like that Deadpool and Deathstroke, like
Mm.
similar. You can think of like um, let me think of another one: Moon Knight and Batman.
Well, yeah, like
There's. I feel like there's
well,
some
similar.
similarities. Like I think you can compare two things and two stories. You can compare two separate stories, and if you really dig hard enough, you can find similarities
Mm.
and be like, you can make them similar. But I don't know. That's just me. I think.
Okay, all right, okay. I mean, make a good argument, but I guess why it's touching is because she's made so much money from this, and then Neil Gaiman, who's a great author, a great writer, but you got obviously doesn't make as much money as she does because, like I said, he does his small independent books, or he'll do a mini series on a main character here and there, But obviously, he's not raking in as much money as she is, So, like I said, so that's why I, don't support it,
Well,
Mm,
wasn't the character just given to him though? It's not like he created it.
yes, it did. Well, no, DC came up to him. If you were paying attention, it said that what do you call it? They wanted him to just come up a way
Oh, okay, okay.
that he could introduce.
I thought they came up to him with the character already, and they wanted him to just make the series, the
No,
miniseries.
no, no.
They just told him kind of what they wanted.
Yeah.
They
Mm.
wanted a character that can introduce all the magic. Okay,
Yeah, what you call it. So yeah. So
but
yeah.
I also feel like too, if he would have felt like if it was really thing, like he probably could have sued her, right?
Yeah, but I mean, what he didn't, But I'm just saying, because
I mean, the options would have been there, right?
yeah,
And if you think about it, like timeline wise, he got it before her. So, I mean, it's probably not the type of person he is, or
well, that's what I'm thinking. I'm
he
thinking,
probably either he's not the type of person to do that, or two, he's read it and then he's like, oh no, these are like they similar, but this isn't Tim. I hate Tim,
yeah.
but this isn't Tim.
uh,
I hate him, but no.
I mean, yeah, personally, I just think he's not the type of person. He's like, nah, I'm not even getting involved in all that. nonsense.
I think he could have, because like if you think about it, Warner Bros. Warner Brothers owns both of them, so it's like he could have just gotten it like that right there, or he would have been like, "Oh, like let me just take over Harry Potter."
Okay. Or maybe he was going to do something about it, and then his lawyers got involved, and then Warner Brothers was like, "Oh no, we're making too much money off this." so maybe they just paid him off. It's like, here,
Well,
how much you want?
he did get money off of it. Then
How much
he's just succeeding in silence.
I mean, if he did that, I was good for him. Good for him. I mean, us public, we don't know that, so if that does, good for him. Deal.
But also too, like, I feel like in a career like that, you're not. Yeah, money is important, but you care more about
getting your stuff out there.
The quality of stuff you have, this quality, like what you're doing, not really how much money you're making.
True.
I know that sounds unrealistic to some people, but I feel like when you have a passion about something like that, you don't care what happens. You just want to make sure that you aren't, nothing's interfering with your stuff, and how you're going about things.
Agreed. What do you call it? So yeah.
So you're gonna read the first what?
No, I'm still not.
I think you should give in.
I'm not supporting it, man. Still, even though you made some good points.
I think you would like the story, man. The story is pretty good.
Yeah, no.
I don't know what you grasped from the story, but I think a lot of people like it just because it's a good story.
Like, people are fucking nerds, man. That's why people like it.
Hey, man, what do you think we talk about every week?
I know, but like I said, well, there's different kinds of nerds, Like I said, and I know, I just don't feel right supporting it in any way, man. Okay. Wait, do you have these physical books?
Nah.
No, you don't.
I mean, I have them on my phone.
Oh, okay. Jesus. Ugh, no.
That was like the first book I ever read in my.
Really?
Life. Yeah.
Wow.
My sixth grade teacher, she loved the whole idea. We took our first class trip to watch the first movie.
Oh my god! Really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, it was like a year later, but like, or something like that, and we watched it. We went to go watch it. She was a nice lady, and then and she liked the story, which I feel, I don't know, I like it. It has a lot of values in it.
Well, I know you like it, but damn. So wait, so you didn't read anything else before that? Like books?
No, nothing really piqued my interest.
Oh god. So many great stories, man. Like, because when I went to like school, they made me read the classics, man. Good books. From legend.
That was in like sixth grade though.
From legendary authors.
In sixth grade, that was the first book that caught my interest. I don't think I was doing that much reading in fifth grade.
Would you say that's your favorite book?
Yeah.
The first one?
Yeah.
Okay. You know what my favorite book is?
What?
Lord of the Flies.
Really?
Yeah. You seen that movie?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Nah, it's my favorite book, bro. I love that story, bro. So yeah. I have a paperback of it, but I kind of want to get a hardcover of it too. Just to have to add to my collection. Because like I said, the pages are there. Like I said, the soft cover book or whatever, paperback, but I would like to have something that's more artistic, if you will.
Yeah. I get that.
Like I said, because me, like I said, if especially something I really like, I like to get the best version of it.
Yeah.
Like I said, because I told you I have the the deluxe edition of Night of the Living Dead. Also have the deluxe edition of The Crow, and
yeah.
So like I said, shit that I really like, I want to get the best version of it. So one day I will get a nice deluxe edition of Lord of the Rings book. But like I said, just have the paperback for now. All right, I think we went on along enough about this stuff. So like I said. So that was a brief history of the Books of Magic by DC Comics, and you could go to your local Barnes and Nobles or Amazon.com and pick up any of those books that I told you, book 1, book 2, book 3, book 4, or just volumes of Books of Magic, volume 1, volume 2, and volume 3. I mean, I would, if you're really interested in this, I would definitely say start from the beginning with book 1, the first miniseries, and then move on to book 2, book 3, and then book 4. Then go on to the go on to the main ongoing series. Like I said, it's a good read, and especially if you start from the beginning, you see the journey Tim takes, you know. And also, I would like to add too that like you said, if you want to know a brief history of the DC universe, this is another good way to do it instead of like, I don't know, like buying like the encyclopedia of DC, which there are many versions of that. We could just, but even that doesn't cover everything. Books of Magic doesn't cover everything either, but I'm saying if you want like a quick like synopsis of like the history of DC, you know, you can see it through Tim's eyes as he goes through those miniseries. And yeah, so like I said, that's another reason, like I said, you should pick it up, you know, if you want to know about DC lore, especially going back to these old characters that I mentioned before, man, old timey characters, you know, like from the golden age of Superman, you know, around that era. um yeah, so definitely pick it up. Highly recommend it. And if you are a Potter fan, what do you call it? Yeah, check out Books of Magic and you tell me what you think. And when I say tell me, you can tell me on my Instagram at Sinder666, where I post about this awesome podcast that I do and my YouTube channel, and just shit I find on the internet. Throw it over to this guy over here.
And I'm Jose. If you want to talk about Harry Potter, you know, you could slide in my DMs and Jose CE90 on Instagram, and you know, or if you have any questions, or if you want to talk Cinder into reading a Harry Potter book, you could try doing that too.
Not gonna happen. So thank you for checking us out, and if you like what we're doing, please give us that 5-star rating, whatever platform you're listening to this on, and yeah, and also share, like, follow, spread the word. I would like the cult to get bigger. And till next time, we will talk to you guys later.
Peace out.